Mahindra calls it the big daddy of the SUVs, and I think we might just have a father on our hands. This right here is the Scorpio N, and I'm Raspreet Gill. Let's get on and get this review started. So the variant with us here today is the Z8L diesel. It's a 4x2. So we start off with this hood right here. It's so very elevated. It gives the car such a massive stance. Pretty much tall as ever. We drop down into these double barrel fully LED headlamps, and they are stacked with these sequential turn indicators. Yes, we love them, don't we? And they end up kissing this rather chunkier grille, which has these chrome slats running all across it. Really gives the car some massive stature. Down here below, we have these Scorpio Sting like DRLs, enclosing the fog lamps right there. There's more chunky cladding at the bottom here. Underneath the hood, we have a 2.2 litre inline 4-cylinder diesel engine. It's fully aluminum. It's called the M-Hawk. That's how Mahindra terms it. And it makes 172 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque. And it's also been enclosed with this insulation bit on top to keep all that diesel engine noise curbed right in there. So down here I have some diamond cut 18-inch alloys, and 18 inches do quite a good amount of justice because they do end up filling this massive wheel arch right here. Lots of cladding and an absolutely essential footboard right here that helps you enter this vehicle with much ease because of that massive height that it's packing. Slide across and we've got this lofty looking shoulder line, and it also packs in this pretty swanky chromed element which actually resembles again a Scorpion Sting. And then we also get some functional roof rails. So the brake lamps are actually these tall, elongated ones. We do have these sequential turn indicators in them as well. But when you step back and take a look at the back, I find it really squashed up. It's pretty much unlike the front of the vehicle, which had all that bolstering going along with it. Let's simply step into the boot right here. The boot actually opens like this massive door that juts out that way. And if you have a tight parking space, mind you, you're going to struggle with that. In order to actually make some space available, you've got to drop down this third row. Now this is the 7-seater version of the vehicle. And let's push this up, and there we have it. We do get some decent amount of space right here, which amounts up to 460 liters. So I do have my Sony subwoofer embedded right here at the back. There's no space for my spare wheel, and that's the reason it's been dumped right underneath here, which is another problem. If you want to get access to that, it is a bit of a hassle. Let's get out of here now and get into this vehicle. Stepping inside this heaping beast here, the footboard comes in handy. The doors slam with a good old thud. And man, this doesn't look one bit like I'm seated inside a Scorpio. I mean, the Scorpio N right here, they've taken it to the next level compared to the older gen. All of this finishing with this coffee as well as blacked out interior, the dual tone finishing, and of course the entire layout of the center console as well. It's totally upmarket and it's next grade. Take a look at the stitching across the dash right here. A little bit of hard touch material on top, but even that blends in and appears soft. I've got this nice little Sony badge out there for this 12-speaker sound system. Mind you, that sounds really good and loud when you need it to. As for the window panel up here, it's all hard touch material. Got some little bit of gloss blacked out or plastic that runs across these window buttons. So I've got an 8-inch infotainment screen right here. It does support Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is wired unfortunately, and we've got our basic Bluetooth, telephony, radio and stuff. It also does pack in some navigation in it. The touch response so far looks pretty decent, although a bigger screen would have been a little bit better. Packs in this Adreno X technology. It's powered by a Snapdragon processor, which enables you to power on the car using an application on your cell phone. Packs in a front view camera, so when you click that, you take a look, the front camera gets activated, and it also packs in dynamic guidelines, so it turns while you turn the steering wheel. You get parking sensors at the front and rear as standard right here. We've got this encapsulation of these air con vents out here. Do jazz it up quite a fair bit. And we've got a dual zone climatic control system in this car. We quickly turn it on, and you notice that it's got this nice little chrome garnish around it, the rotary knobs. So if you notice that the passenger right here gets his own temperature to set, as well as the driver, who's me out here, can set his own. Now this car is super connected. I spoke about that Adreno X technology. It also packs in a built-in Alexa system. Yes, so just check this out now. Hey Alexa, open the sunroof. And there we have it. That's how responsive it is. It's literally like that smart speaker system right in your car right here, making it into a smart car. Hey Alexa, open the driver's side window.
Okay.
Now that's something. We do get these toggle switches out here that remind you of being seated in an airplane cockpit. So once you click this, it only works downwards. You got your hill descent control out there, traction control on off switch, auto start, as well as your camera switcher. Then you also get a SOS emergency button right here, and that would actually help you out when you meet in an accident or whatever. The car tends to sense that, and you can actually even click that manually and make a call to emergency services. Now because we're seated in the 4x2 variant, we don't get that drive terrain selector which would have enabled us to switch the car into mud as well as snow modes and stuff like that. We also do get a rather rugged looking e-brake right out here. There's no electrical stuff going on with this thing. Speaking of the storage spaces in the vehicle, let's start off with the glove box right here. It's got okay space. I would have expected it to have been a little bit bigger. I center console armrest as well. It doesn't slide or anything, but right underneath here, pretty less space. In fact, I expect it to be much more deeper, given all of the chunkiness that the design language goes by in the front. Got a couple of cup holders here. They're pretty much okay-ish, nothing that major. As for the door bins, they're okay as well. They could probably take in a 1 liter bottle. So I've got a flat bottom 3-spoke steering wheel right here. It's leather stitched, and we've got multi-function buttons for the meter controls on the left hand side, as well as your cruise control, and of course buttons to control the 7-inch MID display right out there. Now if you take a look at this multi-information display in the center out here, we've got a couple of analog dials that garnish it along the side. And the only digital aspect is that MID in the middle. So when we click it out here, and I do get my tire pressure information for each of my tires, which is dedicated. And you even get your power as well as torque figures. And I think that's pretty fancy actually. You even get your navigation information in fact out here. To take a look at all the map details popping up out there. The steering wheel only has a raking function. It doesn't really reach towards you. And that's another downer. The driver's seat is electrically adjustable. And that's the only seat that has that feature. Heading to the back of the Scorpio N, let's quickly check out that third row first. Drop the seat down, it tumbles quickly out of the way. And let's get in the third row of this vehicle. Pull the seat down, quickly give you an idea of what the leg room and stuff is like out here at the back. And whoa, okay, that's how it is. You take a look, I'm 5'10.5", and it's pretty much impossible to be here. Maybe sometime in the city for a short while, I'd be all right. But there's no kind of under thigh support whatsoever. The headroom is okay-ish. You've got a little bit of visibility out from these window panes, and the plastics at the back are all hard to touch. But with these roof mounted speakers, you're sure to get a good sound experience even in this last row. Let's get out of here now and get in the second row. And yep, it's quite a climb inside here. Shut these doors with a nice good old thud. Leg room's pretty decent. The front seat's in my position. I'm 5'10", and it's pretty alright. I'm seated in fact higher up than those seats in the front. Headroom as well, it's comfortable. Someone even above 6 would be good right here. Now these seats at the back, you can actually recline them if you want to. And that's just simply like this. So it does give you decent amount of space at the back if you want to just simply rest, long journeys, whatever. 3 at the back as well is doable because of a low transmission tunnel in the middle. There's a little bit of a fan control for the aircon vents out here, no temperature control, as well as a USB Type-C charging port right down there. We're moving in the zip mode in the Scorpio N. It's one of the 3 drive modes, and this mode is totally oriented towards getting a better fuel economy. Overall, the throttle response is pretty minimal, steering as well is super light. This aspect of the suspension, it's good. It has this frequency dependent damping tech, and it definitely handles some of the worst bumps around here, but you do hear those inside this cabin. I mean, despite all the good insulation bit and of course the NVH levels being pretty acceptable, harsh bumps are felt inside the cabin. As for the ground clearance, there's absolutely nothing you need to be worried about. So whether we're going over the high speed breakers, or even if you decided to take this 4x2 vehicle on a bit of off-road madness, you wouldn't really have to worry about a thing. Being a rear wheel drive, you do get that joy of driving it and pushing it around. And despite everything that comes in its path, it's an enjoyable thing. Let's quickly flick it into the zap mode right now. And what you notice is the zap mode is one that you probably want to use around the city for a little bit more promptness in the drive. And that's what Mahindra has actually introduced this mode for in this car, to give you a little bit more peppiness. Although nothing seems to have changed too much, but I do feel the throttles are a little bit more responsive, just the slightest bit, while we're moving in the zap mode. To build this car from where it was 20 years ago to this point, I think the Scorpio N has come a long way, a really long way. So we're moving in the zoom mode in the Scorpio N, and the steering has definitely picked up some weight as compared to the other two modes. This mode is all about that highway performance, and some may even consider using it in the city for a peppier driving experience. But this thing right here, I feel it's all the power that you need right now. I mean, what are we looking at? 172 horses flying right out of that 2.2 liter diesel engine. A little bit of that diesel grunt does creep into the cabin, but it's pretty much acceptable. It's nothing too harsh. We're looking at a 6-speed gearbox right here, the automatic, and it does pretty much seamless gear shifting. Put your foot down, 3-digit figures attain like nothing, just in a flash. It's just that sensation of being able to drive at such a high speed with such incredible visibility all around you. The steering too has gained some weight in this mode. We're looking at all 4 disc brakes here, so when you're driving this quick, there's one thing that you really need to rely on, and those are reliable brakes. The size of this vehicle itself is so overbearing that the other vehicles on the road, they do feel dwarfed. Although there are no paddles, that are kind of a miss out here. Overtaking as well is just simply a breeze. For me, this is pretty much the mode I'd love to live in while driving the Scorpio. So that was my drive with the Scorpio N. It's a car that's come a long way since the first gen. It's grown in terms of tech, comfort, drivability, you name it, and Mahindra have nailed it. I definitely recommend it, especially because of the way it's been priced as well. It really fits the billing. That's a Scorpio N for me. I'm Raspreet Gill. If you do like the video, do drop a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It'll help massively. I'll see you all for the next one.